This episode of the Party Loaded podcast is proudly sponsored by Audible.com. Check out their awesome catalogue of audiobooks with over 180,000 titles to choose from. And be sure to grab a free audiobook on us and support the show by visiting audibletrial.com/endgame.
Let's party.
Hey, welcome back to Party Loaded. This is Party Loaded, the Wednesday, the 15th of June episode. My name's Luke Retallick. We have Imogen here. Hello.
Hi, friends.
We've got Jam. And we've got Ollie.
Who refuses to squee.
That's all right. We have Ollie.
Squee every episode. That's a lie.
I hardly do.
So this is episode 30, guys, and I just want to point out the complete chance that it's landed on episode 30 when we're talking about E3. Was that planned? Nice. So, oh man, busy week. It feels like absolute nerd Christmas at the moment. There's been, 2016, what a fucking great year for video games. I just want to say that up front. How much good stuff has there been already? And now we know what's happening for the next 12 months plus, and it's just like, blah, overload of cool stuff. So
good.
Yeah.
Did you just make the Inception noise?
Wow. Oh, man.
Oh, dear.
There's been a few moments where it's probably felt like that, but yeah.
You are so fanboying off the charts right now.
Oh, man.
Depressing.
It's been a good week. It's been a good weekend. It was a fairly appropriately timed break from playing more and more Overwatch. I just gotta say, doing some other video game activity.
See, I'm surprised that you're so upbeat because you got a bit destroyed in Minecraft over the weekend.
Oh, do we really have to start talking about that already? I'm stuck and angry again.
No.
Suffice to say, we gave Luke the shits.
Yes, I got a little bit testy, let's just say.
It was so much
To
fun.
say the very least.
All right, so in
And
recent
Ollie
gaming
missed
activity,
it.
we played Minecraft. I got picked on and I got shitty. That's the end of it.
You got picked on. Where? I
You
won
only
the
got
game.
picked on once you started cheating. Ollie,
I'm
he
the
started
admin.
invoking admin privileges,
Oh.
and that just gave Ari fuel. So much fuel. And he ran
It
with
was
it.
the diamond chess piece keep away game, which was the most fun ever until Luke obliterated everything that I owned. And to that point, I had not done anything. And so from that point on, I was part of the crew. I was busy
you
doing
want me
some
to pick
epic, some epic parkour, and I was like, "Hey guys, come look at my thing. I'll show you my little setup." And I go grab my stuff to take back that I spent the last hour doing. Luke decides to spawn roughly 50 creepers down my mine shaft. So
And that's not a euphemism. For anyone listening.
No.
And then Ollie,
wanna say
every time Luke's character wasn't looking, Ari would just don the diamond armor, and everyone would go. It was the best.
Oh, man. It was
Needless
like
to
back
say,
in
it ended
primary
in us
school.
all being dropped multiple times from very high up in the air. And so we threw it all in lava.
And then we went on a 12-kilometer expedition trying to find a freaking polar bear.
Oh, man, I've forgotten about the polar bear. That was so depressing.
Yeah, so in other news, there's polar bears in Minecraft now. When the heck did that happen?
Yay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm still not convinced it did happen, to be honest, because there is none in our seed.
I know,
at
we
all.
had to
Our world
cheatsy
does
doodle
not
to
exist.
spawn it.
Well, first of all, we traveled 12 kilometers in Minecraft, which took us, I don't know, the rest of time, and in a boat and traveling all over the place. And then we sort of thought, well, we'll cheat by seeing like what area is a cold area and teleport there and then search around. So we did that for another hour and still didn't find any polar. We found so many sheep. So many
And a couple of the new igloo structure spawns, but
yeah, that was pretty cool. But no
Yeah.
polar bears whatsoever. So ultimate defeat, we got a polar bear spawn egg and spawned one and went, oh wow, cool, great, awesome. I'm going to bed.
Yeah,
It is 1 a.m.
I probably sunk a good 8 hours into Minecraft on that day, and I got to say, did not regret it at all. It was a really nice sort of comfort zone, like slip slipping on a familiar glove, just playing around in that world. It always feels like that. So
Yeah.
it was good. It was good.
Times.
So, did anyone else do any other gaming during the week? I'm assuming that we all did a bit more Overwatch as per usual. Ollie,
yes.
you played a bit more Total War, and
Just
I know
a
I did
teeny
as
bit.
well.
Just a teeny bit.
How you
And a
still
little bit
finding
more
that game?
Dark Souls as well.
Oh, okay, cool. So, your Total War campaign is with the Orcs, is that right, by memory?
Correct.
Yeah. So, have you fought anything interesting yet? Anything that's
I've
stood out?
fought some undeads that were really annoying, but that was about it. Because they almost out-attritioned me.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah, that was frustrating.
Yeah.
Wave upon wave upon wave of zombies. Like, I can't kill you fast enough.
Yeah. Those zombies, I've cut literally all of the zombies out of my army now because I have gotten to the point where I need to remove the chaff and start plugging in some
Deleting
of
up.
the real quality stuff. Like I've got one army that's literally just all cav now, all knights, heavily armored knights. Yep.
I have an almost complete army of Savage Orc Boar Boys.
Oh, nice.
It's horrifying to behold.
Have you got any giants yet, or is that a way off yet?
I've got some giant spiders.
Okay, nice.
I don't have some giants at this point in time.
I'm very curious how the giants translate to the game because, and ladies, you might find this interesting. In the actual traditional Warhammer tabletop game, giants have a random attack that you roll on the table for, and they can do anything from picking up models and biting their heads off to stuffing them down their pants. So,
But do
yeah.
you roll it on the table, Luke?
I don't think you do. You roll in the sky, around the table.
Through the window.
Off two walls.
In the car park.
Very funny, very funny.
Worst dice roller of all time.
I think I'm about halfway through the victory conditions for my campaign. I've beat off the major chaos enemies and killed the leader of the legions of the north. So Archaon the Everchosen is dead. His greater demon of Zench is dead. And now I have to basically conquer the Empire and Bretonia, and I'm done, I think. So
Solid.
I feel like I've beaten the biggest boss fight, and now I'm sort of just mopping up the remains, pretty much. So
I'm fighting on two fronts. I'm fighting the undeads and the dwarves. And I regret that decision.
yeah, they both sound like bad matches. Nice. So yeah, Total War still proving to be a pretty awesome game. So well, we could probably kick into some brief gaming news of the week, and then we really want to spend the majority of this episode talking about all of the awesome E3 stuff. So, but there have been a couple of things that have happened this week that don't fall into the E3 bucket, and one in particular that we sort of found out about yesterday, and it was a bit of sad news, really. So
Very sad news.
Quick, edit in some sad violin music, please. Please.
well, hang on, Imogen, you start talking, and I'll do that.
Yeah, well, my morning routine is not dissimilar to most other people's. Sort of wake up and get a coffee, and one of the first things that I tend to do is check Twitter. And one of the first things that I saw was news that Robert Koo has resigned from Penny Arcade. And to give you a bit of background, I've been a fan of Penny Arcade for... God, as Lord, you're giving me violin music in the back. Don't, I'll cry. I have been following Penny Arcade and Robert Koo himself for some time. Like the idea that a man could come out, with a business degree and a business mind and then move into this world when he did it was very new and exciting and revolutionary. And so after I think it's 14 years, nearly 15 years, he's resigning from Penny Arcade as of I think July. He's the driving force and was the initiator for Child's Play, their charity. He's also resigned from the board of that charity. So I there's no news as to what he's moving on to. He said he's going to take some time off, and he's been very sort of thankful for the multiple outpourings of support and thanks that he's received. He was drove them to have PAX, the Penny Arcade Expo that we all love and adore, that came to Australia 3 years ago, and yeah, it's a shock and didn't think it would happen, and it's sort of set some tremors in motion as to what that means for Penny Arcade and how they will ever go about replacing his role. Good luck to that person. Robert Koo is a robot. And if anything, my personal sort of thoughts is he probably not burnt out, but there will be a limit probably to what he can give to Penny Arcade, and maybe it's just time he moves on to do something bigger and better. But my goodness, it was a bit of a shock.
I think if another major developer out there is able to acquire him, it could be, pun intended, a real coup for them.
Oh, this is no too soon. Still too soon.
Oh,
And
sorry.
forever we'll have, we got a really awesome photo with the whole WA PAX crew
Minus Ollie,
last
who
year.
couldn't make
Minus
it.
I'll
Ollie, who
Photoshop myself
didn't.
in. No,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
won the year before, so that's fine.
That's
And
true.
he was so sweet, and we had that hilarious conversation. We said, "Yeah, no, I know Perth, and I have family there." And we're like, "Oh, great, so you come to Perth?" He's like, "No, it's really far away."
At least
we
he's
know.
honest.
Yeah, and he's just whenever he's been at PAXs and things. So hopefully we'll still maybe see, or you definitely probably will see him at PAXs in the States. I don't know that we'll see him back in Australia, but who knows?
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, because he was a big part of the community and bringing it over here. So
I think it's very
Yeah,
telling.
I'm just
It's
a
very
bit-
telling as well that from the PAX Australia point of view, he is the one member of the Penny Arcade staff team that I've actually been able to interact with for a decent length of time every single year that PAX has been on here, all 3 years.
That was exactly my thought.
And
Do you remember
whoa.
that first year? It was the
Whoa,
end
shut
of
up,
the...
Siri.
did you ask Siri if you were serious?
I've got
Mine's
no
gonna-
idea.
Oh no, now mine's going to stop piping up. Shh, no, no, not now, Siri. Shut up. Oh god damn it, Siri! Every time.
The end of that first year, he was standing around in the Q Hall tent. It was a tent at that time because it was at the showgrounds. As everybody was leaving, and we had a chance to chat to him about how much fun we had, how excited we were that this kind of event was in Australia, and begged them never to leave.
Yep.
And he was just so easygoing and welcoming. I wish him all the best. I know he's a very private person, so he might not be discussing what he moves on to, but yeah, it's sad to see him go.
Absolutely. Yeah, so there was only a very brief news post on the main Penny Arcade site about it, and sort of very small snippets on Twitter. Gabe, aka Mike Krahulik, has not sort of posted anything yet as at this time, so only Jerry, aka Tycho, has on the main sort of post on their site.
And it was beautiful. I mean,
Yeah.
you wouldn't expect any less from Jerry. Really, writing is what he does, and he's very good at it. And yeah, it made me cry.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a sad day.
It's a big,
But,
big deal.
big
Like,
news.
if you look at all the most influential people in the video games industry, like if you were to do like a top 100 or even top 10 list, he'd be featuring pretty high up on that list, I would say.
Mostly because I think Penny Arcade in general, with some other people as well, and there is other sort of, we'll call them content creators, how about that, have come out and sort of changed the way that we interact with video games and sort of made it less about, there being a magazine and someone reviews it, and actually said, look, there can be voices other than that, and having those conversations and creating, communities for good with Child's Play, which has been awesome. And yeah, I don't know. He's a force. And like Jamie said, I very much doubt we'll hear ahead of time where he goes. He'll just sort of pop up somewhere else, especially the level at which, whoever gets him is incredibly lucky.
Yep. Right. So any predictions where he might end up? Anyone want to have a stab at it?
No, it could be anywhere. Those sorts of skills, that vision and that business acumen is just transferable to any industry. So just good luck to him.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Cool. All right. Well, the other sort of brief snippet of news that actually came out in the last 24 hours was we actually now have our first official update to Overwatch with some character nerfs. So,
Nerf this!
yeah, nerf this. Well, Diva didn't get impacted, despite some of the earlier
Yet.
chatter that was going on about that. Yep. But we now have our first official nerf for McCree and also for Widowmaker, which was one that's sort of been popping up a bit more in the last week's discussions. So,
Both were needed.
yeah.
Every single
McCree-
time when I get a sneaky headshot, it's one of these two. I'm like, God damn it. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that they're getting a bit of a nerf.
Definitely. I mean, McCree's issue was more so that he has a combo attack where he basically has a stun that knocks people out of being able to move for a few seconds, and then follows that up with a fan the hammer attack with his pistol, where he basically unloads every single round in the chamber and kills pretty much anything. And they had envisioned him as being more effective against sort of lighter armored targets with that, instead of being able to take out massive tanks like Roadhog, for instance, which is in fact what he was able to do. So they've dropped the amount of damage that attack does down a little bit now, so it is more fitting in with the theme that they envisioned for the character initially, so which is good. And Widowmaker's changes were really interesting. I actually like what they've done with this a lot. So they've actually dropped the amount of damage that she does with her sniper weapon, hitting characters in general, sort of around the body area, but increased the damage that she does when she does headshots. So makes a bit more of a precision character. Now,
And her ult is a little bit harder to get as well because she was getting that really fast.
Yeah, and as well as they not being able to reshoot until the animation was complete. So maybe a little bit of a delay as well between some different moves. But I've never played Widowmaker, so other than that one crazy battle royale that we had where we had to play lots of random stuff.
I'm sure you've been
bizarre.
killed by her a number of times though, haven't you?
Oh,
Yes.
that
She's watched
many
enough kill
times.
cams.
Yeah.
I play either a tank or the healer, and if Widowmaker is not shooting at me, then she's not doing her job.
Yeah.
So
She doesn't tend to get a lot of play of the games, but she does tend to have a fairly decisive impact on a side's victory or not. So
definitely, if
Yeah.
the map knowledge is there, then she's basically unstoppable.
All right.
And most of the rest of the news was E3, so let's do it.
Yay!
Kick
Whoop,
into
whoop,
the
sound
E3
effect.
discussions. Yeah. All right. So, for anyone who has been living under a rock or is new to the video game industry or doesn't know anything, E3 is the Electronic Entertainment Expo, massive event that's held annually and pretty much is the cornerstone of a lot of the video game industry sort of news and game announcements for the following 12 months or so. So now this year's Expo, really interesting. There was a lot of chatter sort of leading up to E3 2016 around the future of the Expo, given that some of the major developers that usually have had a significant showing at previous years were actually stepping out and doing their own sort of side events or communicating with the general public in different ways. And those developers specifically were EA, who actually didn't have a presentation on the lineup this year for E3. Instead, they ran a separate EA Play event, which was actually across the road from where E3 was the day before it all started. So their reasoning for that, I mean, anyone can sort of take a guess, but I suspect it had a fair bit to do with them just wanting to do their own thing and you know, not share the spotlight with some of the other big devs and getting in ahead of the game. So there's probably some sense to that. Activision did not have their own sort of section at the show, but a lot of their titles were sort of integrated with other sort of main platforms presentations anyway, so it's probably not surprising. Disney Interactive usually have a pretty big presence, but this year they didn't, and I think that probably coincides quite neatly with their sort of announcements recently to can the Disney Infinity line, because that doesn't leave them with a lot to play in that space. So, yeah. And last but not least, Wargaming.net, makers of World of Tanks, World of Warplanes, and World of Warships. They elected not to have a presence at E3 either because they have sort of said that their model isn't so much around product releases. It's more about ongoing sort of DLC and digital content. So doesn't sort of suit their marketing as much as other developers, which makes a lot of sense. So yeah,
probably important to note as well, if people haven't heard of E3, is that traditionally and the majority of the show is industry only, and so you either have to be in the industry or media for the industry, and so it's really quite a showcase. And I think it was last year was the first year they released some tickets to the public for parts of the show, and this year that expanded. So some of those decisions to move out may have been sort of made as a strategy to include more of the general public and less of industry types. Who knows? But
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was something that 3-4 years ago I didn't realize. I thought it was just another con. I didn't realize it was industry only, but that's changing very quickly.
So what it means at the end of the day for folks like us is that we get a whole crud load of news to digest over the course of a short space of days.
So many
My
newses.
poor phone.
Yeah, pretty much.
Holy crap.
WhatsApp
Yeah.
nearly melted my iPhone over the weekend, and especially Monday. I think we had like Sony's event live tweeted by Luke.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I may or may not have planned my work schedule around absorbing all of that content.
Yeah. Absorb is a good word.
Yeah. Well, I like to share. So yeah, it was good. I mean, we had the major press conferences as well as a whole bunch of stuff that they were sort of doing on the show floor and meeting with different news outlets and sort of media sort of personalities to do demos and playthroughs of games. So a lot of the stuff that's been posted on some of the big game sites has been more in-depth, hands-on with some of these titles as well, which is good. Gives us a bit more information about what each of them is going to shape up to look like. But yeah, I guess we'll sort of just go and whiz through the major developer presentations and sort of highlight some of the stuff that came out of each of those and what captured our attention. And hopefully that all won't take us longer than, say, 45 minutes or so. So
Fingers crossed.
We'll see
Stick
how
with
it
us,
goes.
I'll just
audience.
yell at people if it does.
that's it. Yeah.
We need like
Yell
a
at
whip
people
sound
anyway.
effect. Whoosh. Move on. Whoosh.
All right, let's start with EA, given that they didn't actually do the thing at E3 itself. They had the separate EA Play event over the road. So they covered a bunch of stuff, some highlights probably including Titanfall 2. They had a bit of stuff on the new Battlefield 1, their usual sports lineups. Mass Effect Andromeda, should we start with that? Should we chat a little bit about that one?
I'm happy.
Go, Jamie. You are really looking forward to this game. What did they show
I'm
us?
super looking forward. It was just a behind the scenes video. It had some environmental footage, which looked really great. You could see some of the flora and fauna and the different planets we were going to be exploring. They had a character waking up, I'm guessing from hypersleep, traveling to the Andromeda Galaxy. And they showed some behind the scenes work on the actual graphics and movement of some of the characters themselves and facial expressions. That Asari face looked amazing.
It's a goofy looking dude, Asari, by the look of it. So yeah,
Dude.
What? That's what
He
it looked
hasn't
like
played
to me.
Mass Effect, it's okay.
Yeah, I know. I have played Mass Effect. Anyway.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot. It's still early days. There is so much more to be learned, but I'm so keen for this game.
I'm very curious to see what the overarching plot is, because it won't just be, here's some cool stuff to explore.
Yeah.
I'm actually curious to see what the big bad will be.
And they did state all new cast, so any shred of hope I had for my femshep to be revived has been thoroughly dashed. But the Tempest, oh my god, the Tempest, I am no longer so upset about the Normandy being gone because that ship looks gorgeous. I can't wait.
Looks awesome. Looks seriously
I
awesome.
concur.
So we still have to wait until next year, unfortunately, for that one. So get a little while for it to gestate.
That's all right. They got to do it right.
The Battlefield 1 footage, Ollie, you were pretty interested in that. What did you take away from
Yeah,
that?
I really like what I'm seeing with that. Like, the
fascinating.
graphics look amazing, like nothing short of amazing, and yeah, it just looks large scale. It looks gritty. It looks like full on environmental destruction. It looks like a really fun game so far.
64 player dirigible I'm going to say that word wrong. Blimp. Let's just say blimp.
Yeah.
Go with Blimp.
64 player blimp battables look hectic. This is not my type of game, but that looked like fun.
It just, yeah. I'm going to have a lot of fun trying this game out, I have a feeling.
Yeah, when
I
you
think
can
I
have
will
that many
too.
people sort of involved in a combat and start introducing, biplanes and armored tanks and all that kind of stuff too, that just sounds super cool.
Well, the thing is,
So many vehicles.
if they're really smart about it, and it generally surprised me they don't do it in other Battlefield games, but in World War One it would work especially well because the scale of the conflict, you can have all plane maps. So you just have your aerial maps. You have, here's my armored tank divisions fighting on. Here's my trench maps. Here's my mixed arm maps, all that sort of thing. So Battlefront did it a little bit, so I really hope they keep pushing that and getting those variety of gameplay types as well as maps in. So that'd be very cool.
Yeah. So speaking of Battlefront, there was a little bit of Star Wars stuff. So Battlefront 2 is apparently in development and it will feature content from the new movies by that point. And we'll actually have a separate Star Wars game coming out at a point in the near future, which is going to be a major story-driven one. And apparently Amy Hennig is involved in working on that one, and she's the creative force behind the previous Uncharted titles before she left Naughty Dog a little while ago. Yep. And this one apparently will have an original narrative, so it's not going to be a rehash of one of the stories we already know from the main Star Wars films. So.
But from
Super
the
interesting.
books, is it still going to be canon? Are they creating new canon?
They must be creating new canon. It can't be from any of the
Go
novels
nuts,
because they were all sort of scrapped as far as the New World Order goes, weren't they? They were.
Yeah, but there's news novels that have come out.
Yeah, that's true, I suppose.
Like a very large amount, actually, very quickly.
Oh, my bet is it being something completely new, and that's what I hope for as well. So it would be
Amazing.
good. And there was the EA Originals program, which they started talking about. So what was that one about?
So, yeah, Originals program sounds really interesting. It's effectively their commitment to help support and I guess that means fund, indie game studios to create titles under their sort of banner. So it'll sort of be a program where they'll sort of, I guess, take applications, and they actually showcased one game that is a good example, which was Fae, or FE if you are Googling it. You've written here, AKA, I can't believe it's not Ori, which made me giggle. But it's very similar. I think it's fair to say the game itself is based on nature and different interactions with it and light and resources and those types of things. But it uses the art style really well, and I very much enjoyed seeing that. So if that's the way that EA, because traditionally EA and these types of events would be something I'd go, they make Madden and FIFA and it's a great game and they're going to bring out one every year and, blah, blah, blah. But I think an announcement like this really shows that they're sort of picking a different direction, and they'll obviously have first choice of a lot of these sort of game studios to sort of fund and some cool new ideas, and Faye is a really great example of that. So if you are a fan of Ori and you, like me, are a bit of a nerd for game art and for devs who think a little bit outside of the circle, box, square, diamond, whatever you want to call it, then I think keep an eye on this one for sure. And Faye looks really good, depending on how it comes out in terms of PC or consoles or whatever else. I think I might be giving that one a bit of a look.
But will you finish it?
Oh, Ollie.
Oh, man.
That's the real question.
If you didn't say it, I was going to...
Probably not. If it's as difficult as Ori, then no. But I'll buy it, and that's all they care about, right?
You're supporting them.
Exactly.
It's not the having, it's the getting.
Yeah. Wow, that makes me sound really shallow. I do enjoy the games, and I still play Ori. I'm just not progressing anywhere in the goddamn game. But no, I think it's great, and a great move for EA, and hopefully more people people are already kind of doing this. It's just not an official program. So EA maybe hopefully are starting a new wave of investment into these independent studios. Some very big, some very small, and they just have great ideas.
Fair. Cool. All right, well, let's move on to Bethesda, because there was a bit of stuff going on with them. They actually had a live simulcast with an event that they held over in Australia to announce some stuff as well.
I was so excited.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit excited.
We had some hints early on that there was going to be something big announced, and a lot of people were hoping for a new Elder Scrolls title. But I think a lot of people were kind of disappointed that didn't actually end up being the case.
They got a new Elder Scrolls title. Yeah,
well, Okay, all right. It depends on how you interpret that.
Yeah, it wasn't another open world, massive RPG thing.
Yeah, they have said they're working on Elder Scrolls 6, but it's still quite a way off development. So, which makes sense. Yeah.
Don't abandon us yet, guys. We will make Skyrim 2.
Bethesda had a really big year last year, because last year was
Huge.
all the Fallout 4 buzz, and that sort of followed through into their E3 Prezzo this year too. So Fallout Shelter's still apparently a big thing. They've got big updates coming for that on account of the fact that it's actually just hit 50 million players. What the hell?
Just a few.
Yeah, that's a lot of people. Holy crap.
That is.
So Fallout 4 DLC, which we've seen a bit of coming out. There's a whole new sort of bunker building sort of DLC that's
At some
coming
point, I need to stop playing Overwatch and start playing other games.
Did you not sign up for the beta? For Contraptions, Ollie?
I did not. I missed it like an idiot.
Oh, no.
Like I said, too much Overwatch.
Oh, dear.
Some more stuff coming for Doom, so there's new DLC and free updates coming. They're actually going to be introducing some new multiplayer maps, a new demon, new armor, stuff like that, and
also free demo of the game for the next week.
Oh, nice.
So you can play the first level of the single player campaign as a demo. They said, we're going to release it for free, but what it really is it's a demo for the game, a fully playable level of the game as demo, which I think is genius. It's what we used to do. Let's do it again.
Yeah, I wish more games did that.
Yeah. I think the last big one that I can remember was Destiny. Destiny had a big sort of demo. I think we actually played quite a lot of the game before you would have to invest in it. So good on them. That was cool.
It was.
And Fallout 4 and Doom apparently are getting VR versions. So don't know how I feel about that.
I really look forward to that.
Doom VR will be
Doom VR will be awesome.
insane.
Yeah, that will be cool. Fallout 4, I don't know. don't know.
Fallout 4 will be an immersion thing, so I can appreciate that. Because I mostly played the game in first person, so yeah, that'll be really cool.
Fallout 4 VR was the only announcement the whole of E3 they were going, ooh, I could really get into VR if it was Fallout 4. It's the only release of a VR title to date that has made me think that VR could be cool, because I do, same as Ollie, I like wandering around and listening to the music on the Pip-Boy and like kind of running around. But I will, need a padded room and, people to check on me, make sure I haven't knocked myself out when I jump when I get attacked by rad roaches or something, though.
Should just film you and Kate playing that. That would be hilarious.
It would just be the worst.
You know what I genuinely like? Proper video game titles for VR.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not just like, here's my quirky VR thing. No, it's a proper game.
But how much different will it be to a game that's actually purpose-built for VR as opposed to adapted for VR? That's what I'm wondering.
I'll be honest. If you give me a quirky little game that's built for VR versus a full-blown game that's been adapted, I know which one I'd rather play.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just the ability to look around in Fallout 4, just using your own head, the freedom of that would be amazing.
Doom VR. I need that. That's going to be freaking awesome.
Shawsies make me vomit.
Well, when you actually play the first level of that game for free during that promotion, you'll definitely feel that, because you move fast in that game if you want to stay alive. So
good.
Always running. The Doom Honest trailer came out today. As well on YouTube for fans of the Honest trailers, and it was quite funny.
Yeah, I'll check that out when we finish tonight for sure. Yeah.
Speaking of old school shooters, anyway, Quake Champions, so another multiplayer arena shooter for Quake.
Yeah,
which looks interesting, and it looks like it's introducing different classes or abilities for heroes.
Yeah.
So that looks intriguing.
Already been dubbed as Overquake.
Yeah.
Overquake?
No one was expecting it. So, when I sort of heard about the Bethesda announcements and didn't quite go the way I wanted it to, I thought that Quake was probably the reason they were hyping it up so much, because no one had any idea that was coming. But it is unfortunate that it's already being referred to as Overquake.
Yeah.
Well, between Quake and Doom, if I was to pick one of those to be a sort of arena shooter as opposed to focusing on single player content, I would have gone the way that they've gone, because Quake always had a weird kind of non-story with it. It was just,
they tried with Quake 3 at that point.
But it was never really a story-driven thing. It was kind of, it had elements of sort of medieval, sort of Cthulhu-esque horror to it, but not really. There was no overarching story that tied them all together that was discernible, I think.
You played Quake for the multiplayer, you played Doom for the single player.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
The end. And I'm completely fine with that. But yeah, other ones they've released, Prey. So ages ago there was a game called Prey. They released a new one, but instead of calling it Prey 2, they've just called it Prey. It looks very System Shocky. And I'm okay with this.
I'm curious. I'm
very okay with this. The game, it's not much gameplay showing apart from I'm shooting shadowy squid things with a shotgun, so we don't know much about gameplay, but story-wise it looks interesting. Very psychological, which is good.
Nice.
And then the big one for me personally, Dishonored 2. I'm so jonesing for that game. I loved Dishonored 1. Like, it's just got that beautiful Victorian Cthulhu element, and it was so nice. It just did eldritch horror and steampunk perfectly, and it was such a short game. And if this is just more of that, I'm okay with this. Like, if this is the one sequel, they just go, it's basically the same game, but with different story with slightly different settings and set pieces, I'll go, cool, thumbs up, buy a copy, thank you.
Well, Emily's abilities looked different and amazing. In the gameplay.
I am very excited. This is one of the few games I don't get excited over games very much. I'm genuinely excited for this game.
Well, the Bethesda thing that I'm probably most excited about is, unlike what I'm sure you think I'm going to say, was not the Elder Scrolls Legends Hearthstone-like card game.
What? I'm actually surprised.
No,
Shocked.
not that at all. So that's a thing apparently.
Imagine
but-
the shocked emoji. That's my face right now.
Yeah, no, that's not the thing I'm mostly keen on. I'm actually really keen on the Skyrim remaster. So that was probably one of the bigger announcements they made. So the original sort of Skyrim, so Elder Scrolls 4, 5? I get my numbering wrong with those. Which number
So
is
you
it?
haven't played it.
Yeah.
No, that's right. I haven't played it. That's exactly why I'm excited. I'm actually probably one of the 1% of the video gaming population that has never touched this game. So,
Which is why, I mean, remastered is cool, but it's Skyrim with mods that they're now releasing as a whole Bethesda game.
so for people like
Yeah,
me who haven't touched
basically.
any of them, it's awesome. For people like Ollie who have played probably 90 plus
And me,
hours of them,
yeah.
not
And
so
modded
good.
the shit out of it. Like, I'm looking at this, it's like, man, this HD remaster. I'm like, so it looks like the game after I modded it.
Exactly right.
Ah.
And I spent over 100 hours in that game.
Oh,
And
yeah.
So when I'm looking at the remaster, I'm like, well, no. Number one, I don't want to replay. Otherwise, I just start a new character on my current game. And number two, then it would make my PS3 entirely redundant.
Like, don't be wrong, for people that haven't played it like Luke, it's a brilliant way to get the game looking good on modern day consoles and modern day platforms without
Yeah.
the whole hassle of modding it and whatnot. So I understand why they did it, but for me personally, I've played the game, I've had my story in it, I don't need to replay it.
Yeah.
That's fair. Right, shall we motor on into Ubisoft and chat about some of their stuffs? Mm-hmm. Who's excited for Just Dance 2017? Woo!
Alright, moving on. Alright, Microsoft.
Having said that, PAX every year we play Just Dance. So
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit excited
It's
about
an
getting a chance
entertaining
to play
party
that.
game.
Yeah, exactly.
There is, however, a cool new South Park game.
This I'm actually looking forward to.
Oh my
that
God.
looked hilarious.
Jamie, did
played
you
it
actually
first?
see the trailer
Yep.
for that?
I have not yet.
Oh,
I
they troll the shit out of the audience. They have a trailer that
Don't
almost...
give it away.
It's pretty
No,
obvious when
just
you
stop
watch
talking,
it.
Luke. Stop talking.
I am very keen, and I thought I'd get around to it in time for this podcast, but I did not.
All right.
Very sad.
Watch the South Park Fracture Hole trailer, everybody. It is hilarious.
The first
really
game,
is.
I've never laughed so much playing a video game. Honestly, I'm going to get it the day it comes out, no doubt.
It
I will
straight
join
up
you.
looks like an episode of the show. It's just, there's almost no differences that you can discern with the naked eye, as far as I can tell.
The first was such a fantastic transition to the medium. Like you felt like you were in the show. It was extraordinary, and the whole theme around it was hilarious. And the way they worked in so many references, even though half of them I didn't know because there are so many seasons I haven't seen. Still, I was just losing it constantly.
So the big theme for this one apparently is superheroes. So this looks like they're going to tap into a
Oh,
lot of the recent
excellent.
superhero movie tropes. There's a huge Civil War theme going on with the trailer. And they've got superheroes named Douchebag and Coon and Friends.
Did they have any reference to their little anime side episode? That's one of my favorites.
Do not know. Do not
They
know.
made up their own song. Like, awful. Oh my God.
It may come
Supposedly
into
dubbed song.
Mm.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Cool. So check that out. New stuff shown for The Division, which I no longer give a shit about.
Let's say, Ubisoft, address
salty.
yourselves.
Yeah, pretty much.
Check
Stop
yourself.
hackers and cheaters. Seriously, that's all we ask.
Star Trek Bridge Crew look kind of cool, though, for people who are big Star Trek fans, actually doing the whole bridge crew of the Enterprise in VR. That could be something that's quite popular, I would imagine.
Yeah, I have
Set
to
to
say,
maximum warp.
yeah, I can imagine that if you were a big Trekkie, that would be just, next
The
level,
best.
super exciting. But the photo that they put up of the 4 people sitting in a lounge room wearing the VR headsets, like pretending to be on the bridge, I couldn't stop myself laughing. It's what I imagine. I hope VR doesn't turn into. It's just all of us sitting in lounge rooms wearing headsets.
Oh, well.
To be
in
fair,
imaginary worlds. But
The flip side is here's going to be 4 people flying X-Wings around as the Star Wars equivalent.
I'm okay
And I'm
with that.
okay with that.
yeah, we're gonna have to make sure that everyone has like
So
adequate
I can't judge
flail
Star Trek
space.
people for that.
There's going
I
to become
can't
they get new
judge
flail
them.
space.
Yep.
It'll be
Everyone
like
make sure
when
you have
did
5-meter couches
Safe
Yeah.
in the middle.
yeah, it'd be like in PE or whatever you call it here, sports science. I don't know. When you have to stand and they say like space yourself out and make sure you can't touch anybody around you. Like just sort of fling your arms around, make sure you can't reach anyone, and then you start.
That sounds
Deary
good.
me.
Well, you guys
Yeah.
can come over and plan my dedicated VR room that I will be setting up for this exact purpose. So,
Yep. You know.
I recommend empty room. There you go,
The
John.
end. Sound buffer it and add it.
what's this Trials of the Blood Dragon thing that they were showing?
Like this, I've actually seen some stuff of. This looks really cool. So
Okay, I'm
there
informed.
was a Far Cry sort of expansion called Blood Dragon, which
It was
just
the
did
friggin' best.
amazing, like 80s action tropes and stuff. And this is like the chronological sequel to that in the Blood Dragon universe, but in the Trials game.
It's just the most bizarre mashup.
That's
It
weird.
is,
But it looks
and I'm
cool.
strangely okay with it.
Yeah, it looks fun. And having played like a little bit of Trials recently, when I heard that they'd made this bizarre mashup and the internet was like, "What is happening?"
Yeah.
It's pretty exciting. Trials is such a fun party game,
And
and just super playable.
this
And
game does
so-
not take itself seriously.
It really doesn't. Like
At
you
all.
can like get style points for like flinging yourself off your bike at the end and all sorts of stuff. So, yeah. To be serious, like I spend most of my time riding a unicorn as Puss in Boots in this game currently. So if you've never played it, that's where it's at. So-
Nice. There was an interesting looking medieval hack and slash game called For Honor, which they previewed as well. So combat of that looked very tactical, a little Dark Soulsy, but probably with a bit more sort of personal zones around your body, sort of when you're defending from the rear, sort of left and right, as well as your front attacks, and a lot of technical weapon control that you can exert on those one-on-one combats. So
That's been
Yeah.
in the works for a while, though, hasn't it? That one.
I think so. Yeah, this is definitely the
They've
most
been
content
trying
I've
to get
seen.
that
on
one
it.
right for
Yeah.
a while. Yeah.
I'm intrigued to see how it compares to stuff like Chivalry,
Yep.
because that'll be the big sort of benchmark that everyone compares it to. And that did a pretty decent job. So I'm intrigued.
It looked like sort of Norse-style pirate raiders attacking a keep full of samurai warriors or something similar.
Oh, that'll
So-
just be so they can get their mashups on. That's
I
fine.
think there's like samurai, knights, Vikings, like they've like very similar to I guess Total War or something similar. They've got like there have been announcing sort of races for the last couple of E3s or over the past year. So
Yep. Cool.
it looks interesting, I guess.
All right. Well, let's move into the big ones then. So,
Yep.
Jam, what should we start with?
Ooh, Microsoft.
All right.
Oh my gosh, so many announcements. So I was really excited about the system and service announcements that they made. So they've got the Xbox One S, which most people will have heard about, which is sort of the remake of the current spec console in a smaller little neat package out in August. They announced officially Project Scorpio, which is the beef Xbox One that they're developing to support the 4K resolution and the high fidelity virtual reality stuff.
Yep.
I, hands down, am most assuredly getting that when it comes out. And I'm anticipating and hoping with my whole soul that it comes out with HoloLens. I'm just going to drop whatever they ask for on it because I'm so keen.
Like, what should I make that check out to? Sorry.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, look,
How
if
many
it doesn't come
millions
out
of
with
dollars?
HoloLens, as long as it has compatibility with one of the other devices on the market, that'll be okay.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
absolutely,
HoloLens was slated
but-
for 2018, and this is coming out end of 2017. So I
Yeah.
don't know that it will launch with it, but I would imagine
gonna
that the
be-
development of it
Yeah.
would be in tandem.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
And then the service announcements too. The Xbox Play Anywhere. So many of their titles are going to be supported on Xbox One and Windows 10 in a way that lets you only have to purchase it once, and support cross-platform playing between the two. So
Which means I really
that's-
need to sort out my Windows account, which I just stuffed up.
It's great because some games I prefer to play on my Xbox by default, but would love to occasionally jump in with friends who are on PC. Like it's going to be so wonderful.
Yeah, and vice versa. Like if I'm playing a game, or and I have to buy it on PC because you guys are all playing it together, but it has a single player, then I much prefer to do that on my Xbox than I would on my PC. So awesome.
It's wonderful. And the other services they announced, there were 3 first called Clubs, which looks like will be for little niche interests and games, so that you can always locate and discuss things that you enjoy with people who also enjoy them. Are looking for group function to make it really easy to find someone to join you in your quest, whether it's a particular challenge or even just like a freestyle kind of thing you want to do. They had an example of Minecraft up, I think, which said something along the lines of looking for people to come join my build and help me, craft X buildings. I think it's a great idea. And Arena to support the tournaments, to simplify and have everything in one place so people can join them, run them, register, compete. Just really amazing. And I think these sorts of services, they're the reason I prefer Xbox to other platforms, because just having that social element, making it so easy and so intuitive to connect to your friends is the best thing. It makes everything so much more enjoyable. So yeah.
Except now at the moment I just realised, you can creep on me and see that I've been watching Foxtel or Netflix, or every now and again
I'm sure
I'll hop
there'll
on
be
and like,
privacy settings.
Kate's on. Oh, that's great. Oh, she's watching a movie.
I do that already. I see that people are like watching Netflix and I go, okay.
It's
The
a little
overarching
bit
thing
creepy.
that I thought was super interesting from the Microsoft presentation and all of their hardware and community sort of stuff was it really looks like Microsoft's moving into this space where they don't care so much about mid-generation console sort of iterations, because they really want everything they produce game-wise to be playable on PC and console at the same time.
Yep.
So they're kind of turning your PC into an Xbox console as opposed to turning your Xbox into a PC, if that makes
Correct.
sense.
Well,
Yeah.
it's genius, because if they're the ones to start that sort of service that supports, multiple platforms, it's just it could snowball from there for them if they become the favoured provider for that sort of. I mean, imagine if you had the choice between getting it on one little lone console or this coordinated platform that lets you play with your friends on, Android devices, iOS, Xbox or PC. It's
a no-brainer.
It really
really
helps decision making.
And as well, like if it was like Fallout 4 and I wanted to like play like a little bit contraptions or whatever on my PC and then go over and play the same save game, like exactly the same world, and do the exploration part on my Xbox, I can do that. And that sounds
really
amazing.
appealing. Yeah.
Super appealing, and it changes the way that people can design games, because you're not thinking about this would be hard to do without a controller, and you just have games that you can choose to play either. It's easier to play this part of the game PC, that part console, as well as the fact you've got people moving to Windows 10. You've got people investing in buying an Xbox because it's got the compatibility. It's yeah,
it's genius.
It's
Developers
why
are
I'm an
Agreeing
Xbox.
with everything you're saying.
Developers
I
are less
agree,
locked
yeah.
down to the technology sort of being frozen for an entire console generation as well. They can start looking ahead to developing with more advanced sort of graphics engines and video cards and that sort of thing. If there's going to be iterations mid-cycle, so
I would much rather this console war mean that PlayStation continue to make Uber PlayStations and Xbox continue to do new innovations, rather than them both releasing something that I just compare, is it PlayStation's got a little bit of this and the processor's that. That's not winnable for me. It's not interesting for me as a gamer. I'm not getting anything new out of that. But the way that they're both moving to try and be innovative in their own ways means that this is getting really interesting in the types of games we'll start seeing coming out. So I'm
and the
super
Minecraft
excited.
announcements that are directly linked to that. Realms is going to be available on, I think, did they say iOS, Android, and PC?
Realms is
cross-platform.
available cross-platform on iOS and Android as of right now.
Xbox is going to be supported in the near future, I think they said end of the year, which means our Realm, I'll be able to, or any of us right now can jump on our iPad and join it.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Imogen
I
just
didn't know
flew.
that.
Extraordinary. And Xbox to follow, which means down the track you could be playing on PC, Imogen. Luke could be playing on his iPad. I'll jump on my Xbox. We're all playing in our realm.
Yep.
Now we just need Mumble to do this.
I know. That's our one hurdle.
Well, if you're playing on
It's-
Xbox, you can use the new sort of clubs feature to chat to each other.
That's
So-
what I was
yeah,
going to
maybe.
follow up with. I'm curious to find out how they're going to support the communications between everyone on these multiple platforms. But, so exciting.
So they mentioned Xbox as far as the plans sort of leading in for console support. They didn't mention by name PlayStation and Wii U, which I guess
No.
is unsurprising. But
They wouldn't mention them by name. They did say, for example, they used the Rocket League example and how they've already developed cross-platform support for all platforms that participated or something along those lines. Like it was a
Yeah, 'cause
it was
one of them
vague
wasn't
reference
Xbox.
to some people said no because they would say no. But it's great. It's great and it's very exciting. And for the rest of the Microsoft press conference, I thought Forza Horizon 3 looked gorgeous. I was so excited to see that it was like Australian themed because we've got some beautiful landscapes. Just beautiful. And I liked the playthrough that they showed of people just seamlessly sort of jumping into each other's games and racing around beaches and everything, and the little kangaroos jumping along.
Yeah, they
was
really
cool.
harped on about that. It's seamless entry in and out of games.
It's
And
a
so it
pretty
must have
big
been a
deal
big-
for racing
it
games.
must have been a really big issue in like previous online multiplayers of that title. I've never played any of them, but it does look kind of cool. I'm in the market for a new racing game, so
Ooh, we could play together. One of the other ones that was really interesting was We Happy For You. Did any of you see that footage?
I couldn't watch all of that. I was like, I don't know what's
trippy.
happening.
Well, it's funny actually because
so
Ollie mentioned
trippy.
before that one of the other games reminded him a lot of like a Bioshock style
Yep.
entry. Or was it Prey that you were saying that
Prey,
was?
yeah.
Yeah, then that was System Shock, but okay.
System Shock, sorry. Yeah, okay.
Well-
System Shock, Bioshock, getting my shocks mixed up. But this one
Shocking.
reminded me a lot of
Both super
Bioshock.
creepy, psychological.
Points for
looking-
everyone for that one. Good
Yeah.
It looks like a brainwashing, I don't know, experiment. I don't even know what was happening.
It's
but this-
Bioshock as fuck. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
It's Bioshock meets
Super
Requiem
creepy.
for a Dream.
Set in a drug-fueled,
Good reference.
retro-futuristic city in an alternative 1960s England. So
Yeah,
lots of people
just-
walking around
And-
with masks with their true sort of faces hidden. It almost looks like a...
Taking happy pills.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, happy pills. They'll make you happy.
They're actually called
Yeah.
Joy. The other one I was really excited about was State of Decay 2. I love number one. Can't wait to play that co-op with people. Just like a open world zombie resource management kind of let's survive. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Did anyone notice that there seem to be a lot of zombie games at this E3?
Oh yeah.
It's almost like
Which
zombies
is-
are popular.
It's so bizarre though. We kind of have like this like surge of zombie things, and then it goes away, and then surge of more zombies. Dinosaurs are going to come back as well by the end of the year for sure. It's in the cycle.
Well, they did. Horizon Dawn.
Oh yeah, sort
Was
of.
We'll get to that. Yeah.
We'll get to
Yeah.
that. We'll get to that.
Yeah. So there's a Gwent Witcher card game, sort of direct game now. Now, I have not played Witcher 3 yet, and I know that as soon as I do, I'm going to get invested in this freaking card game like I
Disappointed in you.
usually
I
do.
feel like you're going to play Gwent before you even play Witcher 3.
The intro
Yeah.
to the announcement was so funny. So we made this fascinating, amazing, enormous game, and we noticed a lot of people were sitting down and playing cards. It was so good.
Well,
Yeah.
I haven't played it yet, but I hear really good things, so I have no doubt that I'll want to pick it up. And we've got friends that are pretty invested in it already, I believe. So,
You're talking to one,
It'll be interesting.
putting it out there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Good. I shall chat to you about it later.
I had my
game,
own
you should
little
play
a Gwent moment, but in terms of hardware, I should maybe talked about it when we were talking about hardware. But the most exciting thing that came out of it is, again, I was just scrolling through Twitter and I came across a picture of an Xbox controller that someone had custom made, and I got super excited and then discovered Xbox Design Labs had been announced, which effectively means you can now make your Xbox controller any color combo that you want. And this is just, I have wanted to do this for my Xbox controller and have looked at, different ways of doing it myself or getting other artists and stuff to do it. So I'm super excited. It looks like at the moment, this is how I messed up my Microsoft account just before the podcast, you log on, it looks to be around $80 US. I'm going to auto assume. When I did sign up, there was sort of a box saying region and it only had US, so I don't know if that means there's going to be issues with shipping it elsewhere. Sometimes with these types of things, shipping outside of the US can be an issue, but don't quite know what that's at, but if it's $80 US, that's kind of an okay price, around $100 Australian to be paying for a custom controller. And you can also get it laser etched, which would probably be a bit more. But so you can get your own gamer tag or some sort of inspirational saying on the front of it.
This.
Or nerf this. If only I played it on Xbox, but now I can.
Hey.
Yeah, that was super excited for me, and I've already sort of done up a bit of a mock-up for the guys and sent it out about what I think mine should be. I'm a bit excited, but first establish which of my Microsoft accounts I have to use to buy it, because now I need to sort all that out so that I can stream things on Xbox and my PC.
Give me shit for having multiple Battle.net accounts. You are allowed to have multiple Microsoft accounts.
When you
Very different
when
thing,
your
though.
quote-unquote day job requires full Microsoft integration, you don't want that also to be integrated with what you play on the weekends on
Luke's
your
job
Xbox.
needs multiple Hearthstone accounts, apparently.
Yeah, apparently so.
True,
Just
true.
be in the middle of a presentation and get a update.
Jam is
Jams
online.
is playing. Yeah,
Jams is playing Minecraft.
Minecraft.
Yo,
Would you like to
Imogen,
join?
I'm having some trouble finding diamond. It just pops up in the corner of my screen. Yeah,
Yep.
right.
There was a game that I saw on the Microsoft presentation which looked super cool, and I really want to play with you guys. Did you see the Sea of Thieves trailer?
I haven't
Saw a
seen
little
it yet.
bit.
So pirates, basically a pirate adventure game with some mild supernatural elements. So that sounds like almost every pirate computer game I can think of. Way back
Thanks,
from
Pirates of the Caribbean.
and Monkey Island as well. So
Monkey
it's a shared
Island,
world though.
wow.
So it's playable online with multiplayer being a big part of the game. So you have like your ships, and you need to sort of keep your 3 sails up as a team. Sort of man the deck and fire your cannons. And it's basically like a pirate sort of war galley combat simulator. And looks awesome. Looks really really good. So yeah, want to check that out when it comes out.
Yeah, there was so much in this Microsoft conference, so we're still going. But one of my sort of... I hadn't had previously heard of this game, but Recore was something that really caught my attention. It's another sort of open-ish kind of world. They didn't really give you much detail, so that's
They
why
really
I'm being a bit
didn't.
vague. So it's basically a human protagonist who'll have robot companions, and we got introduced to 3 of those, and they play sort of a basic role. You've got Mac, who is the most adorable by far, little sort of robot dog, who seems to sort of to help you out generally. You've got sort of a tanky kind of beefy one. You've got a more technical one that seems to be better at sort of flying and leaping and more agile. So it seems to be plays a bit on the core theme, and so each of them, you'll have to create based on need. But it looks really good, and again, art style really caught me immediately. The
Super
style
good
of
art style.
yeah, the style of the trailer is amazing. I assume some of what we saw did seem to be gameplay, but it's not. It wasn't sort of a full announcement and things. So it is out in September 2016. So maybe we'll be seeing more and more. Actually, September 13th you've got here. I just thought it was September, but I will definitely be looking at that, and that will be one of those games I pick up for console for sure. Because it's not going to be multiplayer, so why would I play it on PC?
Done by the Metroid Prime developer as well, which perks
Which doesn't really
interest.
surprise me given the theme of the robots and everything else that's going on. But have a look at the trailer if you haven't heard of it before, like me, and it really does look pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to that. It's coming out a bit earlier than some of the other bigger titles, which is interesting. I haven't really seen a lot of other things that'll be coming out in September, so it may get a bit of a head start on some of the other things we're going to mention. The only other thing that I saw, which I really want to come out, is Cuphead. I think we've briefly mentioned it millions of episodes ago when we were talking about PAX, and I think it was Jam and her sister Kate and I had a bit of a play at it last year at PAX. It's a bizarre sort of early Mickey Mouse style, so 1940s, 50 Mickey Mouse animated style boss fight game. So the whole game is just you going in and fighting big bosses. So you have to find the patterns to defeat them, and it's been touted as probably one of the more difficult games, and certainly our experience at PAX last year did demonstrate that. You do have a co-op mode that you can sort of jump in, and the longest time before we realized that we weren't the other character because they just looked the same, which is very confusing. But the music in it, and again, the art, very different. It was supposed to come out in 2015 and then didn't. And their big announcement was, the reason is because we want to release a game and it's not the game that we've got to release to you now. So still no date, still 2016. It'll be, I think it's going to be an Xbox exclusive. At this
I believe
stage.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. So
maybe PC as well. I'm not sure.
Could be PC as well, especially given their most recent announcement. But it was definitely at PAX last year, sort of being shown off as one of the things that Xbox had for itself. So it looks really cool. Again, if you're interested in sort of games that look a bit different, Cuphead's definitely one of them, and have a bit of a Google.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Sweet. Jam, let's move on to Sony.
Okay. So very quickly, a couple that I'm very curious about. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, surprisingly, very appealing to me this time.
Really?
I was surprised. Yeah, I'm not usually a COD fan, but the transition from spaceships fighting to space suit floating about fighting to breaching a space station and then room-to-room combat and then back in the spaceship and spaceship fighting again was incredible.
I'm not going to lie, that does appeal to me.
Spaceship! I think I might actually be picking this one up. Very intrigued. They put a lot of time into presenting Days Gone. They had a lot of footage. It's a zombie apocalypse with the main characters appear to be bikers. Very cool looking. The zombies look like they fall at one bullet from the gameplay that they showed, but there were a lot of them.
It was like a World War Z storm.
How many? Yeah. Very interested to see more. Detroit Become Human looked fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
I like the idea of it.
I'm so intrigued. So basically it introduces an android who's hired as a negotiator and trained as a negotiator to negotiate with another android who's gone rogue and kidnapped a child. And it just elaborated on the fact that your choices and decisions and the information you find influence the outcome so substantially. Yeah, the number of possible outcomes they showed for this one particular confrontation was extraordinary. The graphics looked beautiful, and there were some humans in it that were very resistant to android involvement. Like, it just looks like it's going to play on some really interesting themes. I really can't wait to see more of that one.
They only showed
definitely
that one
be keeping my eye.
hostage situation, though, so I'm wondering how much of the game focuses around that one event or whether it's a whole bunch of them. Yeah.
I'm hoping it's not that one event because they just showed us, like, most of the outcomes possible, I'm guessing. But even so, yeah, it looks like a very interesting, investigative, dramatic thriller. Very keen.
Yeah.
Horizon Zero Dawn.
That game.
Holy shit.
Oh my goodness. So this was the conference that Luke was live tweeting and he got very excited, and so I did sort of stop what I was doing and Google it very quickly.
When Horizon came on, the
fell in
tweets
love.
and the updates stopped because I was just watching.
So it's the best way I've heard it described is if Tomb Raider, Fallout, and Brave the movie kid.
Awesome.
It would be Horizon Zero Dawn. Mostly the Brave because the main protagonist is a redhead female. The gameplay looks to me very similar to Tomb Raider in terms of their kind of that kind of idea of a rolling cutscene type of vibe, like still making it quite cinematic. It is great for me because it pulls in that sort of tech scrap dystopia that I kind of enjoy, as well as, the kind of early settlers archery based fighting. It's got a mystery, like, where are these, what has happened to the world for it to have fallen apart this dramatically, and it came out of nowhere. But the worst thing about the release is that it's PS4 exclusive.
Yeah, boy.
And it breaks my heart.
I didn't realise that.
It's PS4 exclusive, along with some other games that I was really keen until I saw they were PS4 exclusive. I do not own a PS4. I'm not keen to invest in a PS4 until I see the full outcome of this VR release.
Oh, look, I think it's clear to a lot of people, unless you have very specific tastes now, that the console exclusive lineup for PS4 is looking a lot stronger than Microsoft.
I agree, but I already own an Xbox, so I don't have to make an argument for buying an Xbox.
True. Yeah.
Why
I could
not
buy
have both?
Yeah, I could wait and see and buy a PS4 when they're cheaper because the VRs are coming out, or do I stump up and pay the full amount and be a first adopter, which I really don't want to do. But this game looks just amazing. At this stage, I can only hold out hope that it'll be a exclusive on release and will eventually migrate.
Limited exclusive, yeah.
A limited exclusive, but usually they announce them as such.
Yeah.
Which they did with
I don't
Tomb
think
Raider.
you're in luck.
They
I think
haven't
I'm
done
gonna.
that, no.
I think I'm going to get a PS4 when it's cheaper.
Oh,
I'm
so
probably not
sad.
going to be adopting the PlayStation VR. I don't have as much confidence in it as some of the other ones out there. But there are some games here that I must play.
Yeah,
I must.
I will wait and see.
as well. I mean, I've obviously been under a rock for the last 3 E3s because Last Guardian was something else that I saw in this Sony release that I saw sort of just a clip in something else with the giant. I'm going to say chihuahua because that's what it looks like to me. It's a sort of a fey animal, and again, art big in this game. It's obviously why it's been receiving so much hype coming out. But yeah, PS4 exclusive as well. So that's sort of been a big negative for me into thinking about picking that one up. But yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn for me, that and Recall just. They're the announcements. If someone said, "What did you like from E3?" It's going to be those two things. So,
But what about Spider-Man?
Oh,
He's
yeah.
freaking cool.
That came out of nowhere,
I'm not,
too.
Not a Spider-Man fan. Not a Spider-Man fan.
Look, from what I can see from this, if all they've done is taken the web slinging from Spider-Man 2 from PS2, best Spider-Man game, by the way, then
That's
I'm
what
just a happy
everybody
man.
wants. The whole internet is just put in the web slinging. That's all we want you to do.
Like,
Someone typed it wrong. They forgot the little web. There's a hyphen there, guys. Jesus.
Our notes are incorrect. There is a hyphen between spider and man.
So
I'm just
I
happy
think-
that there's a new game coming out for it.
I think a lot of people believe that the gold standard for superhero sort of games of this nature is kind of the Arkham series at the moment, and this did seem to share a lot of style as far as the gameplay goes from the Arkham games. But the big difference being that it's not dark and gritty, it's that nice bright New York vibe that Spider-Man enjoys. So, yeah, filled with hope and colour and everything that teenagers love.
If I end up picking up a PS4, it might be something that, it would be the type of game that I'd be kind of like,
I
that
would
would be cool to
recommend
play.
it.
Yeah.
But speaking of dark and gritty and Batman, he's coming to VR.
And word on the street from a few people in the press that have tried out the Batman Arkham VR is that it's pretty cool. So there is Joker involved somehow because during the trailer there was a definite Mark Hamill sort of voiceover.
Oh, wasn't that beautiful? Just hearing it, it's like, oh, yes.
Really cool. It's unclear as to where it fits into the Arkham games in terms of the timeline, but it seems like it might be after Arkham Knight because there is the information they've given out so far is that a character is involved in a crime that would not sort of be present in that form until after Arkham Knight, let's just say, without providing any more spoilers. So...
That was very tact of you, Luke. I'm impressed.
I tried real hard. Yeah, but apparently you get to play around in the Batcave and muck around with the gadgets there. Actually get involved in some fist fighting, but it's a big focus on the detective stuff. So a lot of the sort of crime scene analysis and all that kind of thing, which you can imagine would work really well in a VR environment. So, yeah.
So yeah, then on to a big one, the Kojima game.
His entrance was epic.
Yeah,
So
the
Death
audience just
Stranding.
lost their shit.
The internet exploded. It just went nuts. My Twitter
like what I'm
notifications
seeing.
went through the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like what I'm saying. It's very artistic. It reminds me a lot of the horror manga, like Geo or Gaio, however you say that one. Uzumaki, and a little bit of, I'm going to say this wrong, Fuanotane, I think it said.
Sure.
But it reminds me of, I read these, but I don't know how they're said because I've never heard anyone else say them. And it reminds me of those, like that sort of, like the concepts behind it. So, yeah, it's a very interesting trailer. There's lots of naked Norman Reedus. There's Norman Reedus fetus. I said it just for you,
You
Jamie.
said it. You just wanted to say that. I don't understand. I do not understand the excitement for this man.
Aquatic life. Now, interesting enough, all like the big whales and stuff all have umbilical cords, just like the fetus did.
Oh, I didn't
And
notice
Norman
that.
Reedus has that cross section scar
Yeah.
on his stomach, so maybe he lost his umbilical cord. And then there's 5 like floating god figure people up in the sky that you can't really see anything about.
If you were
Yeah.
listening to this and you're like, "What the hell is happening?"
Yeah.
Don't worry, it's Kojima. It's
Yeah.
just
The
he's
whole
a
trailer
verb.
was
It's,
Kojima-esque fuck.
it's just Kojima. It's a verb now. It's something that it's how we describe when you just do a series of things that don't seem to be related.
Yeah.
Oh, look, it's cool. I like the look of it. I'll probably buy and play it.
That weird ass
Why?
creative brain untethered is going to produce some wonderful stuff.
I'm pretty sure that if Sony just like let Kojima walk out on stage and say it's $80, people would have run out the door to buy it, like
oh, yeah.
regardless of what they had put on that screen. So,
I would just open up Steam.
Yeah.
Go download.
Yeah. No, it was interesting. I mean, overall, the Sony press conference was pretty impressive. I thought it.
I
yeah.
love the direction they took. Did you appreciate the difference, the theatricality of it? They were at a beautiful theatre. They had an orchestra in the pit playing the music live.
Yeah, they kicked off with
and they
the
only
God
had
of
one
War theme as
person-
well, which led into a God of War
Yeah.
reboot trailer, which was a really nice touch. So
It was beautiful. It was a lovely intro to it. And they played all of the Star Wars music for the Star Wars sneak peeks
yeah.
live in front of everyone. That would have just been so amazing to be there. I really like how they pulled that off. I thought it was great.
it was really sort of classic E3 is what I've heard it be referred to. I haven't had the opportunity. I've only seen the snippets around the games that I've mentioned.
Yeah.
But it really does seem that they kind of went, well, it's the public as well this year, but hell, we'll just do full industry. You know,
Yeah.
when they dropped the Ferrari from the sky for Forza, that sort of stuff, you know, it happens sort of maybe every 2 or 3 years. And Sony seems to, when I saw Kojima walking down the stairs with a little sort of leaf sort of appearing underneath him as he was sort of coming down, the lights up on the stairs as he walked down. It was just very well done.
Yeah,
Very,
and
very schmick.
I think Sony and Microsoft both had a really good ratio of video to talking. They
Yeah.
cut down on the spouting off at people with their mouths and just let the products speak for themselves, which was fantastic.
Always wiser to do that, in my opinion. Yeah. No, the Sony presentation was my favourite of the day, but that's not to say that the others were not good, because they were very good. I think we all benefited this year from having some excellent new properties and gameplay content to look at, so it was cool. So we can wrap up with Nintendo, because Nintendo's not a massive one, because they basically came with 2 games only. And one of them had a significant amount of the focus that they showed at the show. So kicking off with Pokemon Sun and Moon, which we know is coming out later this year. Game's going to be available on 3DS from the 18th of November. So we know most of the stuff there is to know about Pokemon Sun and Moon already. They did show some gameplay footage with the new trainer that you're playing as, exploring the Alola region, which is very Hawaiian themed. One cool thing they did demonstrate, though, is that there's a new game mode called Battle Royale, where you have 4 trainers that actually fight each other at the same time. So the way that's going to work is that it's kind of sudden death, so if anyone loses all of their Pokemon, they're knocked out. But otherwise, there's a point system which actually gets tallied to determine a winner at the end of the fight. So the points must be, amount of damage inflicted, amount of special moves sort of used, all that sort of stuff. So a couple new Pokemon shown. There was Young Goose, which was a honey badger looking Pokemon, which a lot of people have started using in the latest round of Donald Trump memes, which is hilarious.
And Piggy Peck.
Yep.
Piggy Peck is the cutest. Oh, so cute.
So he's a little woodpecker sort of style one. Yeah. So yeah, some fun stuff for Pokemon there. I'm going to pick it up for sure, because I play all the Pokemon games. I'm a sucker for those. They're really good.
Alcohol.
Yeah, exactly. Did you say poker whore? That has a whole other meaning. Anyway, so the other big one was the new Legend of Zelda, which we now know as Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And that is going to be a dual platform release on Wii U and the as yet to be announced properly NX out next year. So... And it's pretty much the first major aligned Zelda game since Skyward Sword in 2011. So it's been a while between outings. So first footage of this we saw about a year ago, but heaps more at this show. Like they were literally showing people spending hours playing the game and a huge amount of content. So it's very open world. There's an in-game minimap which you can sort of use to navigate. A lot of changes to typical Zelda movement mechanics. So now you can actually have jumping. There's climbing, so you actually see various different bits of footage with Link sort of climbing up rock faces and over the top of boulders. And there's even a bit where he pushes a boulder down a hill and knocks out some enemies, which is really cool. There's paragliding, so that would be like a fairly quick travel method of getting around the environment, which is awesome. And there's horse riding as well. It looks like Epona, which is his horse from recent Zelda games, makes a reappearance. Now, the other interesting thing, which is a very un-Zelda-like sort of mechanic, but I don't know, it makes sense in a weird kind of way for this game, is that he's got like a little electronic tablet-like device that he carries around with him. Well, it's unclear whether it's electronic or sort of magically powered. I guess it would probably be magically powered in the scheme of the Zelda mythology. It's called a Sheikah Slate. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but it can do stuff in game, like you can use runes on it to create items. So you can create like platforms and bombs and that sort of thing. It generates special abilities, so there's like a magnet ability you can generate from it, amongst other things, and also use it to display the game map. So I imagine that this device would function really well with the Wii U, with the Wii U sort of controller with the screen in the middle of it. You can almost treat that as the device itself, and whatever that displays, it displays kind of thing.
It's like a Zelda Pip-Boy.
Yeah, a bit like that. Yeah, exactly like that.
Sorry, a Link Pip-Boy.
A Link Pip-Boy, yeah. Another big part of the game is hunting and gathering. So it looks like they're doing away with the traditional heart containers sort of health regain mechanic, and now you'll actually have to eat food. So food will be able to provide sort of temporary boosts or abilities, and there's other sort of survival elements in the game as well. So, you cook your own food, there's a day-night cycle as you're navigating around, and environmental elements as well. So there might be areas where you have to suffer extreme cold and stuff like that. So, a whole bunch of things that are very un-Zelda-like, but quite welcome looking. I think that it all fits as a weird kind of new Zelda aesthetic, and I'm really excited to play it. It looks awesome. That's Zelda. Breath of the Wild.
Poor Nintendo.
Yeah, they're in a weird spot at the moment. I think the next 12 months will be very telling for them. But if they can, pump out some solid, long-running IP properties like Legend of Zelda, then they've got a bit of life in them yet, that's for sure. So
it looks really cool.
Yep.
And next year they'll have so much more to show with their new console.
Exactly, yeah. It's probably their off year.
Yeah, and they've made enough profit in the past to run at a loss forever.
Yeah.
So they're good.
Their war chest is vast. Yeah. And that's most of the key stuff. I mean, there's a couple of other random bits and pieces throughout the show. The developers that are not as massive as the ones that we've just talked through, have a few things to show. There was Dawn of War 3 demos. There was the latest Telltale stuff. First look at the Batman series and things like that. But that's pretty much the main stuff. So... was there anything that over everything sort of really stood out as the thing you're most excited about, guys? If you had to pick something, what would it be?
Nah, can't do it.
Can't do it? Everything excites you? Yeah.
Mass Effect or Dishonored 2.
Yeah.
Horizon Zero Dawn for sure, but that comes with a big price tag for me.
Okay, to those I'd add Detroit Become Human. I think that one's...
and obviously my customized Xbox controller, which may be coming next week.
Yeah. I think I'm probably most excited about Zelda and Horizon. They both look really super cool. So, yeah. All right. Well, anyway, that's a whole bunch of E3 sort of condensed down into a very short space of time for listening purposes of our show. So, if you want more content on E3, I suggest you hit up the old Google and check out any one of the news outlets that's basically been covering it like mad dogs for the last 3 days. So.
Rooster Teeth also on their website have full streams live from E3, which have been really good, and the No has been a great sort of source of information. So
Sweet.
Always good for the YouTubes.
Alrighty. All right, so before we wrap up, something which I think we should probably just mention, but by this time, it's actually going to be a massive tease because by the time you listen to this show, it's going to be too late for you to enter. We actually ran a competition last week, and that competition was to win one of 2 free copies of the Warhammer Total War game that we did the review of last week. And if you were paying attention to what we've been doing on our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/partyloaded, then you would have seen the announcement and you would have entered the contest. And if you didn't see it and you were too late, sorry, maybe you'll think about liking us on Facebook for the future when we do something like this again.
Why won't you like us?
Please,
Don't worry. Yeah, I haven't liked us yet. I don't know my Facebook login. It's been years.
Well, the funny story, when I went on to post the competition, it suggested that I liked the page for our show, which I am an admin, and I had not realised I had not liked our Facebook page. So if you are like me and you have not liked our Facebook page, you should
Imagine
definitely
Picard
do
face
that.
palming. That's basically what I'm doing now.
I'm an admin. I don't need to like the page as well. That's
Yes,
kind
you
of like
do.
posting something and then liking everything myself.
It's
Correct.
kind of
That's what I
like
do.
getting a play card in Overwatch and voting for yourself.
That was going to be my example.
That's exactly
what I do.
That's exactly
That's what
it
Jamie
felt like.
does.
Yeah.
She's a terrible person.
She always announces it too, going, I voted for myself, guys.
Thanks, Jamie.
Yeah.
Full
So,
disclosure.
so
Know
vote
you're
for
selfish.
us. Like us on Facebook because we're hoping to sort of run more sorts of stuff like that.
And even if you don't like Luke, you can
I'll
like
put
the
up-
other ones.
I'll put up a
that we do
photo
on
of
the
my
show.
horrendously purple Xbox controller on there when it comes in.
I love
post.
it. I've decided my colour scheme too. It's going to be mostly pink.
Oh, see,
Solid.
it's so good that we're different shades of girl. Good job.
High five.
High five through the internet. Good job.
Well, if you're not following us on Facebook, you should also check out Party Loaded on Twitter, which is @PartyLoadedShow. You can get hold of us via the arcane method of the email at mail@partyloaded.com. Or check out our main blog at partyloaded.com as well, where we basically post all of our new episodes and anything else that doesn't fit onto the social medias. That's the show, guys. What do you think?
Yeah,
Covered
it's
enough
pretty good.
stuff?
Yeah, if anyone, if we've mentioned games and people have said, oh, if you like that and look at that game, then try this game, please let us know on Facebook because I'm always looking for, especially if something like Horizon Zero Dawn that's not on PS4, that'd be great.
Nice. All right, well, I'll devour your salty tears of not owning a PS4 and enjoy them greatly, but until next time, that's the
Creepy.
show. That's us.
So creepy.
Laters.
See you next
Happy
week.
E3 week.
Yeah, bye guys.
Bye.
The Party Loaded podcast is a Channel Endgame production. For this and more great gaming content, bookmark channelendgame.com.